Have you ever wondered what someone really feels after walking away from a marriage that the world kept judging? For months, people guessed, theorized, and argued about what was happening behind the scenes. Fans tried to read between the lines of her posts, while the media pushed its own stories. Everyone wanted to know the truth, but the person at the center of it all stayed silent. Until now. Keep watching as we uncover what happened to Britney Spears and what she finally said after her divorce.
You did something that caused him so much pain, so much suffering.
Britney Spears has a memoir coming out. Do you think you will be in it?
We might finally know why Britney Spears shaved her head in 2007.
Britney Jean Spears was born on December 2nd, 1981, in Macomb, Mississippi, and grew up in Kentwood, Louisiana, a small town that had no idea it was raising a future superstar. From a very young age, Britney loved to perform. Her parents, Jamie and Lynn Spears, quickly noticed her natural ability in singing and dancing. Local talent shows became her first stages, where young Britney amazed crowds with a voice and confidence that didn't match her age. At only 8 years old, she auditioned for the Mickey Mouse Club. She was told she was too young, but Disney didn't forget her. They recommended her to a talent agent in New York. Before long, Britney was studying at the Professional Performing Arts School and acting in off-Broadway productions like Ruthless. Her talent stood out immediately. By age 11, she finally joined the new Mickey Mouse Club alongside future stars like Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, and Ryan Gosling. This experience taught her how to handle long workdays, cameras, and the fast pace of show business. After the show ended, she returned to Louisiana for a short time, but her goal never changed. She wanted to perform on the biggest stage possible. By 15, she had recorded a demo and signed with Jive Records. The girl from Kentwood was now on the path to worldwide fame. In late 1998, she stepped into the global spotlight with a song that reshaped pop culture, "Tune Baby One More Time." The music video, with Britney in a schoolgirl outfit dancing through hallways, became instantly recognizable. It was playful, bold, and controversial. Critics argued about it, parents reacted, and young fans loved it. The song went #1 in more than 20 countries, and the album sold over 10 million copies in its first year. Britney became a superstar almost overnight. Her name appeared everywhere: MTV, magazines, talk shows, and sold-out concerts. Her next album, Oops! I Did It Again, broke even more records. Britney wasn't just a singer anymore. She became a symbol of early 2000s pop culture. But fame came with heavy pressure. Paparazzi followed her everywhere. They camped outside her home, chased her car, and shouted questions at her. Her relationships, especially with Justin Timberlake, became a major target in the tabloids. She was praised and criticized at the same time. She was expected to be flawless, yet mocked any time she wasn't. Still, her performances stayed strong. From the 2001 MTV VMAs, where she held a live snake, to her memorable Super Bowl show, she kept delivering. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. By 2007, Britney's life was unraveling, and the world watched it happen. The mix of fame, a failing marriage, and no privacy began to overwhelm her. Paparazzi surrounded her constantly. Imagine not being able to walk to your own car or visit a cafe without dozens of cameras in your face. That's how Britney lived. To understand how things reached this point, we have to go back to an earlier moment: her breakup with Justin Timberlake. Britney and Justin had been America's favorite celebrity couple. They grew up together on the Mickey Mouse Club, became famous at the same time, and fans adored them. But when they broke up in 2002, everything changed. Their breakup became part of Justin's promotion. He released Cry Me a River, a song and video that strongly suggested Britney had cheated. A Britney look-alike appeared in the video, making the message clear. Fans supported Justin, while Britney was labeled as the villain. The media ran with the story. Tabloids mocked her. Late-night shows joked about her. Interviewers cornered her with questions about her private life. Diane Sawyer even suggested she had hurt Justin, leaving Britney close to tears. Meanwhile, people close to Britney later revealed that Justin had not always been loyal either. But the media ignored that. They chose their narrative, and it damaged Britney deeply. She was only 21, and suddenly she became a target. The good girl image the public had given her was torn away, and she became the center of constant judgment. This was one of the first deep emotional blows that stayed with her. This pattern continued for years. The media treated her as entertainment instead of a human being. So, when 2007 arrived, when her marriage collapsed, when she lost custody of her kids, and when the pressure pushed her to the edge, it wasn't a sudden fall. It was the result of years of emotional stress and public humiliation. Then came the night everyone remembers. Britney walked into Esther's hair salon in Tarzana, picked up clippers, and shaved her head. It wasn't just a random act. People who were there said she explained, "I don't want anyone touching me. I'm tired of people touching me." In that moment, her shaved head became a symbol, a sign that she was rebelling against the pressure, the control, and the constant invasion of her personal space. The media saw it as entertainment. They turned her pain into profit. Pictures sold for huge amounts of money. Talk shows mocked her. News outlets picked apart every detail. Behind those headlines was someone struggling. Soon after, things became even more chaotic. Her behavior became unpredictable. Late nights, missed commitments, and sudden emotional outbursts. Paparazzi followed her so closely that she couldn't drive without danger. One night, she hit a photographer's car with an umbrella in frustration. That moment became another famous image, used to ridicule her instead of showing concern. By late 2007, she lost custody of her children because of several incidents, including reports that she refused to hand them back after visits. Her career paused. Tabloids labeled her as unstable and out of control. What most people didn't see was that Britney was fighting more than public embarrassment. She was fighting for her mental stability, while surrounded by people who used her struggles for their own gain. The collapse of 2007 wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something even more controlling. It led to a legal arrangement that took away her independence for 13 years. It gave others full control over her finances, her decisions, and even her personal life. From that moment came the conservatorship and the start of the Free Britney movement. When the world saw Britney Spears fall apart in 2007, most people assumed she was a pop star who had lost control of her life. But behind the headlines and chaotic photos, something much darker was developing. A system designed not to help her, but to dominate every part of her life. It turned her into a product once again. Only this time, she had no control over anything happening to her. After the public incidents, shaving her head, fighting for custody, and being rushed to the hospital, Britney's father, Jamie Spears, stepped forward. A court granted him a conservatorship, a legal setup usually meant for older adults or people who cannot manage their own lives. In one moment, Britney lost the right to make her own choices. She no longer had control over her career, her money, her body, or the people she spent time with. Even simple decisions, like who she could meet or whether she could buy something small, were filtered through her conservators. Jamie Spears became the main person in charge. The claim was that this would keep her safe. But as time went on, it became clear that her safety was not the focus. People around her began earning money from her situation. Jamie took control of her entire business and paid himself large amounts for managing her life. Documents later revealed that he earned a cut of her shows and tours, meaning the more she worked, the more he made. Instead of helping her recover, her father gained financially from her struggles. Her business managers, lawyers, and even people close to her also benefited. Every performance, every residency, every project brought in money. Not to Britney, but to the people making decisions for her. While she was required to work under strict limitations, she was given very small weekly allowances, sometimes only around $2,000, despite having a fortune worth tens of millions. Her family, the people who should have protected her, became part of the structure surrounding her. Her mother, Lynn, and her sister Jamie Lynn gained indirectly from the conservatorship. Jamie Lynn even had access to funds and projects that Britney herself was not allowed to approve. In her memoir, Britney wrote that she felt deeply let down, not just by her father, but by the entire family who let this happen in front of them. Her life became controlled to the smallest detail. Assistants, handlers, and security watched her every move. Her phone activity was monitored. She wasn't allowed to drive herself or speak freely. People later revealed that even her therapy sessions and private messages were monitored. She couldn't meet friends without permission. And when she tried to speak up, even a little, she would lose privileges. This was not protection. It was control, hidden under legal paperwork. The most disturbing part was how profitable her situation became. Even while struggling mentally, she was pushed to keep working. Albums like Circus and Femme Fatale came out during this period, and her performances were tightly scheduled. When she appeared at big events or on stage in Las Vegas, she looked like a superstar. But behind the bright lights was someone who wasn't allowed to make her own choices. During her testimony, Britney revealed that she had been forced to take lithium, a strong drug that made her feel dazed. When she said she didn't want to continue her Vegas residency, her management punished her by canceling shows and tightening their hold on her daily life. She wasn't treated as a person. She was treated as something to be controlled and used. Her father argued she wasn't capable of living on her own, while still insisting she was capable enough to make millions under his rules. This became the main contradiction of her conservatorship. The claim of protection used to cover up years of exploitation. Meanwhile, the rest of the world had no idea how bad things were. Fans didn't realize the truth. The media stopped questioning it. Britney's Instagram posts became her only connection to the outside. Strange captions, unusual videos, and small clues that many brushed off. But her serious fans noticed something was off. They saw strange patterns, and quiet conversations began spreading online. Was she trying to send messages through her posts? Was she actually free? From these questions, something huge started to form: the Free Britney movement. But before it grew into a worldwide effort, Britney still had to survive another decade trapped under control. 10 years of silence and manipulation from people who claimed they cared. The same people who built her career helped create the cage around her. Her family didn't step in to help. Instead, they stayed part of the system. This wasn't just about a famous singer under pressure. It was about a woman who had her independence taken away, while others took advantage of her success. Britney once sang, "I'm not a girl, not yet a woman." But she had no way of knowing that the people around her would spend the next decade treating her as neither, only as someone they could manage and profit from. And while the cameras stopped chasing her, the real confinement had only started. For more than 10 years, Britney lived in a gold-plated cage. She performed for huge audiences, all while living under near-total control behind the scenes. Her father and his legal team operated her life like a business. Everyone who claimed to support her benefited from keeping her quiet. And nobody, not her team, not the courts, not the media, questioned the system holding her down, until her fans realized something wasn't right. It began with small hints, odd Instagram captions, strange dance videos, repeated emojis, and confusing messages. To most people, it looked like normal celebrity posting, but loyal fans felt that something about it wasn't her. Then, in 2019, a podcast changed everything. Britney's Gram, hosted by two comedians, began discussing her Instagram. They joked about it until they received an anonymous voicemail from a paralegal who said he had worked with her legal team. His voice shook as he explained that Britney was being held in a mental facility against her will, and the conservatorship was not a protective measure. It was abusive. The message was short, but it changed everything. #FreeBritney exploded across social media. Fans demanded answers. They gathered at court hearings with signs calling for her freedom. For the first time, the narrative shifted. Britney wasn't unstable. She was trapped. The media began to look back at its own behavior. Old interviews circulated, showing how harshly she was treated by reporters and talk show hosts. Clips of young Britney being questioned about her body and relationships shocked people. What started as a fan movement became a discussion about how women in entertainment were treated, controlled, and mistreated for profit. Still, Britney herself remained silent in public for years. Her father's team claimed she was fine. They claimed she wanted the conservatorship. They said she could end it whenever she wished, even though she had no power to do that. Behind closed doors, Britney was finally beginning to push back. In 2020, during a court hearing, her court-appointed lawyer stated that she wanted her father removed. This confirmed what fans had suspected for years. Then came the documentary Framing Britney Spears in early 2021. It exposed the long history of exploitation and public cruelty she faced. It shocked audiences worldwide, and people who once judged her began supporting her. Even celebrities and politicians spoke out. Outside Los Angeles courthouses, the crowds chanting her name grew larger than ever before. The pink posters turned into a sign of resistance, and chants of "Free Britney" spread throughout the world. Fans shifted into detective mode, digging through court records, reading filings, and examining legal details that many reporters and lawyers had ignored for years. But what finally shattered the silence was Britney speaking for herself. On June 23, 2021, Britney Spears addressed the court directly in a public hearing for the first time in more than 10 years. Her words were emotional, straightforward, and deeply upsetting. She explained that she had been forced to perform when she didn't want to, given lithium without her consent, stopped from removing her birth control device, and threatened by both her management and her family if she refused to comply. "I've been in shock. I am traumatized," she said, her voice trembling. "I just want my life back." The world froze. In just 24 minutes, she destroyed the idea that the conservatorship existed to protect her. Her testimony confirmed everything her supporters had been insisting for years. Fans cried. Politicians reacted. Even the media, which had once fueled her public embarrassment, began offering apologies. Public opinion shifted instantly. Britney was no longer treated like a joke. She was seen as someone trapped in a system designed to control her. The impact was enormous. Her father, Jamie, faced growing scrutiny. Companies and partners separated themselves from him. The outrage forced the courts to take a closer look at the entire conservatorship. Within a short time, Jamie was removed, and the legal structure around Britney started to fall apart. For the first time in 13 years, Britney Spears began to feel what freedom might look like. She posted on Instagram, thanking her supporters, the same people who believed her long before anyone else did. "You guys saved my life," she wrote. But even though this moment marked the start of her independence, it also exposed the level of betrayal surrounding her. The people she trusted the most, her father, her management, and parts of her family, had built their comfort and security by restricting her. The conservatorship didn't happen by accident. It was created. It functioned as a system that let those around her benefit from her career while keeping her silent. The Free Britney movement didn't just help a famous singer. It revealed one of the most disturbing examples of legal control in modern entertainment. And even though Britney finally had her freedom, the damage from 13 years of silence, from being treated like an object instead of a human being, wasn't something that could disappear quickly. Because, as everyone would come to see, having legal freedom doesn't always mean feeling free inside. When the judge finally ended the conservatorship in November 2021, it felt like the whole world breathed out at once. After years of watching her life unfold like a tragedy, fans celebrated with tears and cheers. She was finally free. Free to speak. Free to make her own choices. Free to live her life without someone else making decisions for her. For the first time in more than a decade, Britney was in control. No more court-appointed guardians. No forced treatments. No one telling her what to wear, where to go, or who she could be around. It was a victory not only for her, but for every person who protested, posted, and believed her voice mattered. But freedom wasn't the fairy tale many imagined. When the conservatorship ended, Britney stepped into a world that looked different than the one she remembered. And she had changed too. Social media had become a place where every post, every sentence, and every movement was examined instantly. After years of being silenced, Britney began using Instagram as her main outlet. At first, her posts were emotional bursts, selfies, expressive videos, and captions that carried a lot of feeling. She spoke about her past, criticized her family for their actions, and celebrated the independence she finally had. She even shared nude and semi-nude photos, not for attention, but to reclaim the control she had been denied for so long. But over time, her posts began to concern some fans. Videos of her spinning for long stretches, dancing in her home, or speaking in ways that felt scattered raised questions. Her captions often came across as confusing, filled with emojis and sudden shifts in thought. Supporters who had once fought for her release started asking, "Is Britney okay?" Some believed she was processing trauma after years of restriction. Others thought she might be facing mental health struggles that had never been properly addressed outside the conservatorship. Some even speculated that she wasn't fully controlling her account. Meanwhile, her personal life was also unstable. She married Sam, her longtime partner, in 2022, which seemed like a hopeful new start. But a year later, they separated, and reports of emotional conflict surfaced. Her memoir, The Woman in Me, published in 2023, revealed even more about her life. Her rise to fame, her relationship with Justin Timberlake, and the pain she endured under the conservatorship. The book was honest, bold, and quickly became a bestseller. Still, her online behavior continued to raise concerns. Videos of her dancing with knives, lengthy posts criticizing her family, and emotional messages drew headlines. Home fans feared she was struggling again, while others defended her right to express herself freely. After all, she had spent more than a decade being told how to behave. Maybe now she was simply choosing to be herself, even if it didn't look polished. In her career, she stayed distant. Rumors spread about possible music releases, documentaries, and collaborations, but Britney made it clear she didn't owe anyone another performance. "I worked my whole life. I don't have to prove anything anymore," she wrote on Instagram. For someone who had spent decades being directed and controlled, this wasn't a refusal. It was strength. Still, questions lingered. Is Britney at peace? Is she recovering? Or is she facing a different kind of confinement? One shaped by trauma and the constant watch of the online world? The truth is likely somewhere in the middle. Healing after so many years of control, pressure, and public humiliation is not easy. Freedom doesn't erase the past. It simply gives you the chance to confront it in your own way. And Britney is still in the middle of that process. She continues to be one of the most recognized women on the planet, yet also one of the most misunderstood. Her story has become a lens showing how society treats fame, control, and recovery. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.